Hello everyone, thank you for joining me today. This video came out at the request of a friend who had the courage to share his story. I think it's a useful story. So let's dive in. Cheers. I am a young adult who has struggled with shame in my sexuality. In today's society, there is a general discourse that shapes how we view masculinity. It often feels like men who openly express their interest in sex are labeled as perverts, particularly in the media we consume. Think of how often this theme pops up on daytime TV. The messages we receive can be overwhelmingly negative, creating a culture where many men feel they must hide their desires or feel guilty about them. Moreover, the rise of a powerful feminist movement, while advocating for essential conversations about consent and mutual respect, sometimes leads to misunderstandings. There's an implication that men should carry guilt for their sexual impulses, as if wanting connection or intimacy is inherently problematic. This dynamic can create confusion about what healthy expressions of desire should look like. It's important to recognize that just because you might take someone out to dinner or offer a ride to the grocery store, it doesn't mean they owe you anything in return, sexually or otherwise. Navigating these societal expectations can be incredibly challenging, and it's vital for us to foster a space where open discussions about sexuality can occur without shame or judgment. So, today, let's explore these themes more deeply, challenge the stereotypes, and promote a healthier understanding of male sexuality. Your thoughts and experiences are welcome, and I encourage everyone to engage in this important dialogue. As I got older and explored romance, I turned down less virtuous women in favor of those with more morals, less partying and fewer romantic escapades. I thought I was a good person by choosing good girls and doing a lot for them. For example, my first wife. I cut the grass, cleaned, and drove her to work. However, he wanted to help me. Now that I'm older, I regret focusing only on the good girls and ignoring the ones that are considered bad. Do you think good girls are scary women? They often don't do things for men expecting us to please them. However, women who are open to their needs are more satisfied with social and romantic interactions. I learned that physical presence and relationship stimulation are important. Whenever I was with a woman, her libido would disappear over time. Many times our most passionate relationships died while we were together. It's not about good or bad. The amount of time you spend with someone is important. As the relationship matures, the initial excitement may fade. In my 15 years of experience, the results have been bad for me and low-maintenance women. Although they may not be physically strong, they can be emotionally strong. Just because you don't cook, clean, or drive doesn't mean you don't serve as an emotional support system. Women are very different. Some people complain about the physical environment. Instead of talking about their emotions, they often choose comfort food instead of dealing with deeper issues. They may lose interest in a single partner, not because of a lack of attraction, but because of emotional intensity. It is important to note that women have lower testosterone levels, which affects their libido. Some women want to have sex all the time, while others only have sex a few times a week. I was lucky enough to be with a man who loved being physically fit for 10 years, but I noticed that his interest diminished as I moved on. When I started doing housework, her respect for me was like a catch-22. Living in a rut drove me crazy, but cleaning as anger arises. He hired a cleaner at one point, which was reassuring, but also marked the end of our relationship. Here's an idea. Stay where you are, instead of moving to someone else. This can help keep the relationship clear and strong. But be aware that family and friends can force him to stay together, which is why my relationship died. In the end, whether the prices are high or low, it's like being with someone. Sometimes I wish I had a relationship with an old roommate that was stronger and more dynamic. However, I believe in the old saying, the grass is always greener on the other side. But what if the grass is full of obstacles? Relationships are very complex, and even if a reasonable partner may seem like a good idea at first, it is important to consider the situations that arise and the real motivation. You may end up taking on more than you expected, which may lead to feelings of imbalance and frustration. It is important to understand that any relationship, regardless of the level of care, requires effort, communication, and compromise from both parties. Higher maintenance allies can have their own challenges, but they can also bring a lot to the table. They can have a good time by keeping up with the household chores, keeping up the mood, and can foster a sense of responsibility and mutual respect. This preventive approach can prevent you from unnecessary stress and create a pleasant living environment. The key is finding the right balance that works for both of you and making sure that neither party feels overwhelmed or unappreciated. As we wrap up today's discussion, I encourage you to think about your own experiences in relationships, what worked, what didn't, and how you navigate through difficulties with your partner. Remember that open communication and understanding of each other's needs and expectations is key to a better relationship. Today is the day. Let me know if you find this video helpful or inspiring.